On the emotional side, so we talked about the colon being part of fear and control. Okay, so because it's housed in the lower part of the body, you know, when we're in fear, our natural response is for our rectal colon to kind of squeeze and pinch out of fear. Okay, it's just kind of a natural neurological response. So that can continue up through the colon to those checkpoints. And if there is a thought or belief system or behavior pattern that says to be in fear means don't show your feelings, right? Don't allow people to don't let go of your stuff, hold everything in. You can't express, because eliminating is a bit of a form of an expression, right? It's expressing what's no longer needed. So if we're holding in old patterns, we don't want people to see it. We don't want ourselves to see it. Any old traumas in the lower region, all those things can create issues in the large intestines, constipation-wise, colitis, what else? Irritable bowel. Okay, so the symbolism of the colon is the useful hold and release, hold and release, hold and release, and it's a natural process, hold and release, right? So that goes for the emotions as well, and thoughts. So I'm holding a thought, I'm releasing a thought. I'm holding a thought, I'm releasing a thought. And that is what is called the peristalsis of the large intestine. It moves through this kind of rhythmic movement. The problem is when we do control, no release. Control, no release. Control, no release. Right? Or fear, worry, no release. Fear, worry, no release. Fear, worry, no release. So all those things really tell, because of the brain and body connection, tell the colon, just hold your in. Hold your in, right? Hold your poop, hold it together. Don't let it come out. It's going to be horrible. That's kind of the symbolism, what the brain would say, and the body responds to it. All right. I'm going to check and see if I forgot anything that I wanted to talk about. Oh, so fear. Okay, so part of fear is also about change. It's interesting how many infants have, at the beginning of potty training, they have this like fear of letting it out of their body. It's very interesting. And obviously, unless there's nerve damage where those checkpoints, especially the last two, are not relating to the brain, then there's other types of issues there. Again, we could go back to the nervous system as far as the spinal alignment and all that sort of stuff. But if there's actual illness or injury to those nerves, it takes a lot more process to rebuild them. Not impossible, but yes. However, they can take some time to rebuild if the person is really diligent with it. All right, nerves do rebuild. They don't necessarily build the same way. They may have to build a new pathway, but they do rebuild. No matter what those other people say. All right, so control, fear of change, fear of release, fear of letting go, fear of safety, all those things. So those are some of the body-mind components to bowel issues. The first energy center, which is called the root chakra, is also at the base of the pelvis. The second one is just slightly below the belly button. So that's, again, kind of in that lower region, right? And so the root chakra, the first center, has mostly to do with family of origin, where you came from, and those dynamics in there. when we're being potty trained, if we have accidents, how the family deals with those things will be part of how the bowel learns to be in existence. The second chakra tends to be about power, being overpowered, doing manipulating, being the manipulated, money, strength, strength of self, feeling like you have your weapons around you, or, your weapons of safety, right? Whatever, not necessarily actual weapons. However, those kind of, I've got my tools around me. I feel I can take care of things. And so that's part of what the second chakra has to do with the bowels and those emotions and those thought pattern behaviors. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah. So those are the big components. I mean, we can go on for a really long time about bowels. If you are at all afraid to look at your elimination, it is a big factor in how your body's doing. If you are not eliminating a fair ratio to what you eat, there is a problem, right? A very successful bowel process would be within 2 hours of eating something, you want to eliminate and need to eliminate a portion of what you ate. Which means you could eliminate up to 2-3 times a day in a reasonable amount. And I know that there's a lot of people who just don't even like to talk about it, let alone pay attention to it. All right? So the acceleration of bowel issues becomes very fast and very dramatic for certain people. We just different people have a propensity for a certain illness. Genetics, yeah, maybe. I think genetics, in a lot of ways, and how I hear it, is that genetics is really a modeled behavior pattern of illness. So you kind of, copy the people around you that happens to have a similar illness. There are genetic predispositions, yes. Though they don't have to be expressed. They just don't. So that's where the balance between genetic constitution comes in versus familial upbringing and modeling, copying comes together. Okay? It's not a small subject, my friends. It's not a small subject. There's nothing in the body that's a small subject because it's so vast in its complexity. At the same time, it's fairly simple. And part of the simple part is hydration, right? If you're not very, very active, you don't need to drink a ton of water, but activation of your body is going to be really important. Movement. Even little shifts and twists to help the bowels and the ribs get off the bowels. Yeah, lemon water is really great. Celery juice is great. It helps the digestion. The fattier the food, obviously, not just for the liver and gallbladder, but for the bowels as well. It just blocks them up. You have to pay attention, right? So there may be foods that you get bloated, constipates you. So stop ignoring it. Don't make it like it's some big mystery. So be aware when you choose to eat those foods, and perhaps you need extra support to break them down. Or both. Stop eating so much of that food. There's got to be a link to what you're doing, right? So hydration, sometimes magnesium will help loosen things up so they can eliminate. The massage will definitely assist. So pay attention. if you are sitting on your toilet for too long because you're on the phone reading a magazine or whatever, it is not healthy. Stop it. Stop it. Do your body good. There's a reason the squatty potty has become extremely popular, because people have been trying to reinvent how to properly eliminate for a really long time in the States. They don't have so much of a problem in other countries. I wonder why. That's a big can of worms, I know. So do your body help. Do your body service. Help it out. Recognize. Be aware of what you're eating, what makes it worse. And don't be surprised when other things show up because you're ignoring something as basic as your elimination. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because the basics of smell your food, smelling food in general gets things going, gastric juices, chewing your food, small bites, chewing a lot, kicks in all the enzymes that you need from the stomach and from the pancreas and the gallbladder, so it can go through those tunnels with some assistance. That's what that process is for. If you don't add that whole component of stuff I just mentioned before the bowels, it's a lot to ask of the bowels for something that they're not supposed to be knowing how to do. They're just supposed to move it around and get it out. Move and get what they need from it in the last moments and get it out. It's toxic. The longer it stays in, the more toxic it becomes. Right? Same as emotions. The longer the stuff stays in there, the more toxic it becomes. And it permeates your entire life. So, let's pay some attention to your elimination and your bowels so you can have some health and some relief. And that is ultimately a greater way of controlling your life than maybe what you've been doing. I wish you well, and I will talk to you soon.